I had almost completely forgotten about Mark's calling me a stalker. Now that I'm doing videos with my voice, I can explain the entire situation in less than 5 minutes. Ready? I was dating someone I met in the community. We were a public item, in fact. Some of you may even remember her if you've been watching for a while. I gave her a female AI voice and would put her quotes in too. We were a little bit like Bert and Ernie. So when she blocked me, I had one last question to ask her. How would she be most comfortable with me announcing the breakup? I mean, folks were going to notice she wasn't around anymore. Being someone who likes to keep things light, I wanted to have her walk out in a skit. I'd be doing my thing when she'd announce that she was bored, wanted something else, and to never call her again. However, I'm also someone who doesn't believe in shitting on their exes, so I wanted to run that by her. As I said, she blocked me, so getting in touch with her was a problem. My solution was to ask a mutual friend to ask her to please unblock me so we could talk. Right here, I made a huge mistake. I should have told them why I needed to talk to her. In retrospect, it could have saved a lot of confusion if I had simply said, "Hey, can you ask her if she'd be okay with me announcing the breakup in a skit where she decides I suck and just leaves?" Instead, when a breakup occurs and one party says they need to talk to the other party, what does the first party usually want to talk about? Getting back together or preventing the breakup. 99 times out of 100, it's a begging thing. If I had stopped to think, I would have realized the need to be clear that I had accepted the end of the relationship. As I said, I'm not going to shit on my ex, but when someone blocks me, I can take a hint. If there is one sure way to make me lose interest in a hurry, it's cutting me off. Why? That's easy. I do not want to be with someone who does not want to be with me. I've seen that relationship from the sidelines a few times, and I won't do it. I won't even try. What's the point? If you have to go out of your way to make someone like you, it seems like a matter of time before you're going to fail. In my mind, a relationship is two people who want to be together. And this is why I am not a stalker. It really is that simple. Now, I can hear some people rushing to the comments because of this message. They want to call me out for not listening to my therapist. That, too, is very easy to explain. On a side note, I have ADHD and take Adderall. I have to see a therapist every month just to get my meds. The visits are usually less than 5 minutes, and because this kerfuffle was going on at the time, I asked for his advice. He told me to do what she asked and maybe even give her longer than a day, but let her know so she doesn't think I've just walked off. This message was about DMs. I didn't plan on sending any more until she did first. That plan changed the next day. First, I saw her in a live stream. Since we were still technically dating at the time, I said hello to her as I usually did. She ignored me. I didn't press it. Later, she showed up in a Discord. I tried to include her in a conversation, again because we were still nominally dating and folks were likely to start talking if we suddenly started ignoring each other. She responded with the written version of a face smack. So I wrote this message. No reply came, and a day or so later I tried again. That's when I found out she blocked me, and I officially gave up on the relationship. At that point, the writing wasn't just on the wall, it was in the sky. If we hadn't been so public, I'd have gone on and probably never thought about her again. However, I really do believe in not being an asshole when things end, and I really didn't want to hurt her feelings. I wish I had just told our mutual friend that I'd given up and simply wanted to run one last show by her. Since I wasn't able to do that, I decided the best way to go was to make a neutrally worded community post instead. After that, I thought it was over. Evidently, it was not. Well, it was for her. And that is why I've always found this really amusing. My ex is not a shy person. If she thought I was actively stalking her, she would have probably kicked my ass. I'm not joking. She is tough and she absolutely hates being spoken for. And that is exactly what the people calling me a stalker are doing. Ironically, they're probably making her more uncomfortable than I ever did. So that's mostly that. I am not a stalker. Stalkers don't just stop. That's another thing I found hilarious about this. Have you ever heard of an actual stalker who simply gave up after one attempt? I haven't. The most ironic thing of all is, what if I had been trying to get in touch, trying to beg for another chance? That's literally the worst case sicko scenario here. If I saw someone else do that, I honestly don't think I'd call it stalking. Cringe, sure. I'd think, come on, buddy, stop embarrassing yourself. This is mildly cringe. That is literally the worst thing I can be accused of doing. Call me crazy, but that's not a sicko level, leave the community in shame kind of deal. Which is why I am still here. Even if I had done that, the fact that I left her alone afterward pretty much proves I am not a stalker. That, and my ongoing behavior toward women. I wasn't comfortable writing this out or having an AI read it, which is why you're hearing it for the first time. You need to be able to hear the tone in my voice to know I'm not upset or trying to pass off some bullshit story, which in retrospect was probably another big mistake. I should have just recorded my feelings at the time. But hey, Pobody's right all the time, and that goes for me too. I've been wrong plenty of times. The trick is being able to accept and learn from the mistakes. Anyway, thanks for listening. See you out in the funny pages.